Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at an account that is deeply unsettling. It's not some abstract study. It's a very personal, very raw story of a community that just comes apart violently.
And it happens so fast. The story we're unpacking, it starts with this kind of public horror, but it accelerates into something incredibly personal and, well, private. Our goal here is to track this sickness, to look at the symptoms, the progression, and maybe figure out how this thing got in.
And the opening just throws you right into it. There's no slow build. You're at a summer party, everything is normal, and then you just hear screams. It's the incident with Larry Sitkins.
The catalyst, yeah. From what the account says, Larry Sitkins just stands up and in front of everyone does something just brutal. He forces a beer can down his own throat.
The witness didn't see the moment itself, but the description they got from the other kids, it's just so visceral. They said he swallowed it like a damn boa constrictor.
That detail alone, I mean, the mechanics of that, forcing a sharp metal object down your own throat with that kind of, I don't know, serpentine control, it immediately tells you you're not dealing with something human.
Exactly. And the most important piece of information from that incident, the thing all the witnesses agreed on, was his expression right before.
The vacant look, yeah, slack-jawed and stupid looking. Like, he was just empty of all thoughts and emotions. The self-destruction comes after the person inside is already gone.
And that vacant expression, that empty precursor, is the thread connecting everything that happens next. Which brings us to the second big public event, the one with Mr. Straw.
Mr. Straw's death is just chillingly efficient. He walks onto the school grounds, goes to the bleachers, and calmly places his neck between the hydraulic benches. And then he just hits a remote control to close them on himself.
In front of the cheerleading squad.
Yeah. And wearing that exact same slack-jawed and stupid-looking expression the entire time.
It's so precise. It's not a fit of rage or panic. It's like he's just following a command, a completely mechanical action.
And then it just starts happening everywhere. It wasn't isolated. It was spreading. We hear about a barista steaming half the skin off her arm while, making eye contact with a customer, or a doctor injecting air directly into his own heart.
These are clinical acts of self-deletion. But the detail that really raises the most questions for me is the thing about the rifles.
Oh, yeah. This is a critical point. So a number of victims used high-powered rifles, obliterated their torsos, their limbs, left ragged stumps. But the narrator is very clear. They never aimed for the head.
Why, though? If the goal is suicide, why avoid the one guaranteed way to do it?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Is it just that they've lost motor control?
No.
Or is it something else? Does the thing controlling them have a reason to keep the brain intact?
So you're saying it needs the hardware?
I think so. I mean, if this entity is trying to learn or propagate, destroying the brain would be counterproductive, right? Maybe this first phase, Larry the barista, Mr. Strauss, is just the entity clearing the board, getting the host's consciousness out of the way. The body is disposable, but the brain is a resource.
That's a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
And the community knew something was wrong. Schools closed, then the national authorities show up in hazmat suits. It's a full-blown containment situation.
And our narrator, reeling from all this, tries to just walk it off. They head into the woods in the summer heat, trying to get so physically exhausted they can't think about Mr. Straw's body anymore.
But that search for control is what leads them straight into the heart of it.
Right. They end up at these old railway tracks, and there's this tunnel, dark, covered in ivy, and there's this gust of cold air coming out of it.
They're just standing there trying to breathe, and a train goes by. The headlight flashes into the tunnel for just a second.
And it lights up a shape, a man, lying face down on the tracks. The narrator, just out of shock or something, steps inside to see.
And what they find is monstrous. It's a man with no legs. Just a torso draped over the rails. And the blood. It wasn't fresh. It was described as brown and jelly-like.
Which suggests he'd been there a long time, maybe run over more than once. This is where the story shifts from just bizarre suicides to something else entirely, something impossible.
It happens right after the narrator just breaks down. They start crying, and then they hear it. A shuffle, a bragging sound in the dark.
And the air just plummets. It becomes freezing cold.
Then it comes out of the darkness. The legless man, dragging his torso with one arm. And the narrator sees his face. It's that same empty, gawking expression as Mr. Straw.
That's the link. But this time it's not self-harm. This is a body doing something it shouldn't be able to do. The narrator's conclusion is just, it's perfect. This wasn't a survivor. It was a dead thing, an impossible monster.
They just run. They run until they collapse. And when they finally get home to their grandmother's farmhouse, The horror is already inside.
The scene waiting for them is just absolute chaos. Their dad is infected, and he's fighting mom and grandma violently. He has a gun, and they're trying to stop him.
The description is just so brutal. Mom and grandma, their hands are slick with blood, and they're trying to use a knife to cut his trigger finger. It's just this desperate primal struggle.
They finally get him pinned down and tie his arms with a rope, and as soon as he's restrained, he goes into that same state. Dead eyes glazed vacantly. He's one of them.
But later that night, after this awful quiet settles over the house, Mom asks the most important question in this whole story.
Yeah? She just quietly asks, "Did your father, when you both went hunting a few months back, what did you do to the meat?" Turns out the government agents had already been asking about the meat.
And that one question just unlocks this repressed memory for the narrator. From a hunting trip 3 months before, Dad tried to brush it off at the time. Sometimes deer get sick, he'd said.
He even compared it to their grandpa's Alzheimer's, which is so telling, you know? It suggests a slow onset, a degenerative process. But the memory itself it's anything but subtle.
They shot 3 deer that day, but they only took 2 home.
Because the third one, the one they left behind, it didn't just fall, it got up on its hind legs, and it started walking toward them like a man.
Even after Dad shot it 6 more times, it just kept coming.
The implication is just awful. The deer they left was already fully reanimated, and lying awake that night, the narrator puts it all together, the meat from that trip. That's what they served at the town barbecue.
And if the third deer was that far gone, what about the first 2? They looked normal at the time. But so did Grandpa. Before his mind started to go, the sickness was already in them, just waiting.
And needing confirmation, needing to see it for themselves, that's what drives them to the shed, to the climax of this whole thing.
They sneak out to the old freezer in the shed. Digging through all the ice and fur, they find only 1 deer carcass left. The rest of the meat from that trip was gone. Eaten.
And as soon as that realization hits, the latch on the freezer starts rattling. Violently. They hear this muffled sound of thrashing fur and teeth. The freezer falls over, and what's inside is just a violation of nature.
The deer. It's partially frozen, but it's moving. Its skin rippled like tissue, and you could hear its muscles cracking and crunching as it tried to move.
But what's really different here, what the narrator points out, is its intent, its mind. A normal predator is indifferent, right? But this thing was different. It showed hatred, its malice. This was pure murderous rage.
Before they could even process it, they turn around and slam right into their dad. He's gotten free, and he feels cold, but his pulse is racing, and his eyes are still empty.
And then for just a second, something breaks through. The dad inside, he's fighting. He manages to speak, and he asks this awful question, "I think I'm dead. When did I die?"
He knows he's lost himself. He's just a passenger. He grabs the narrator. His face is just a mask of agony, and he whispers this warning. "It's in us and it wants us. It's in us and it wants us."
He's not the victim speaking anymore. He's the man trapped inside, warning his child. But then it's over.
The shed door just bursts open, and the deer pulls itself out. It stands up on 2 legs. Its body looked all wrong. And just as it lunges, a neighbor shows up and just vaporizes its head with a shotgun.
The immediate aftermath is containment. Dad is taken away to a special hospital. Mom and the sister test clean. But the narrator, they didn't.
They're living with it now. And that gives them this final, terrible insight into what it actually is. They describe the feeling. It's not pain, it's erasure. It's like if your brain is just words in a book and then someone dipped that book in a full can of used motor oil. The urge is just to give in, to let it take over.
And that explains the first wave of suicides, doesn't it? They weren't fighting the urge to die. They were trying to check out before they became one of those hateful puppets. Like the deer, it's an awful choice, a quick end. Or you become an instrument of pure malice.
And the final claim about where this thing comes from, it's just so much bigger than a virus. The account says it's old enough to remember a time you could walk from Appalachia to what's now called Glasgow. It lives in the soil, in the woods, learning, fumbling around in the brains of anything it can find.
It's not a pathogen. It's an ancient intelligence. It doesn't want to spread just to survive. It wants to occupy. And when someone like the dad realizes their body is just a vessel for this hateful thing, all that's left to do is destroy the vessel or whisper one last warning.
So if this thing is ancient, if it's conscious, and it drives people to self-destruction because they know it's better than what comes next, what does that tell you about the true nature of this intelligence?
It makes you wonder. If an entity exists that can turn death into just another form of life, a horrific kind of locomotion, and it sees our consciousness as just, a new flavor of motor oil, what's the point of fighting? Is it a fight for survival, or is it just delaying the inevitable possession? That's the thought that stays with you, something for you to think about until our next deep dive.